Out of the four changes between communicating in person and remotely, which are change in subject, in attention, in channels, and in spontaneity, the change in channels is probably the most subtle one. Simply put, what do I mean by a change in channels? It means that if you and I were communicating in person, well, you would have a lot of communication channels to use and to explore. Basically, my tone of voice, my tonality, my rhythm, the context, the environment, and the body language, and the emotional connection that comes with it. But because now the subject has also changed, you're talking to part of the body that you see from myself and the rest of the background, you have a lot of those channels. Actually, some of them get completely cut off. For example, the context, because we don't share one. And some of them get cut by about 80%. Most evident example is the fact that you have limited access to my full body language. So what does this mean in practice? It means that when you're interacting with someone else, and this goes both ways, you have less channels to rely on for your message to go through and for other messages to go on. And all of those channels are much, much more thinner than they used to be. So what does this mean? It means that if you want to have the same quality of communication remotely, you need to become much, much better at using those channels and allowing the other person to get more information from you. So to do this, my suggestion is to work on three main areas. First of all, what I said before, get some better equipment. And just a mid-range new camera, webcam, will do the trick, because it will allow the other person to simply see more of you and see it better. And that just by itself optimizes the thin communication channel that you have, the visual one. Second, what I mentioned in the last episode, think about making some sort of emotional connection. Emotions connect us, and whether we want to convey sadness, joy, anger, energy, whatever it is, try to act out a bit more than you usually would in person. Basically, if you're happy about something, think about showing that you're 20% happier than usual. Give or take, 20% is enough, because this way you manage to push an emotion a bit more towards the other person. And third, think about specific body language signals that are only valid for remote setups. Now, I suggest you take a look at my website at the link I'm posting below, because I've broken down a few remote-only body language signals that you could be happy about knowing about. But just to give you a couple of examples, look at the person's eyes to make sure that they're listening to you. Are they fixed on the screen and not moving, which might imply that the person is looking straight at you, at the camera? Or are they looking elsewhere, left and right and left and right? If that's the case, it might be that the person is trying to focus elsewhere, or reading an article or reading an email, and therefore not paying attention to you. There is a few other ones that are very specific only for remote setups. So I suggest you take a look at the structure I've put up. What do you think about this? Have you ever considered the change in channels so explicitly? Let me know. I'm curious. Thank you. Stay safe. Talk soon.